Have you ever told somebody a lie? If you've shared information that you have read online or watched online, then it is very possible that you have spread a lie without even realizing it. Sure, you've heard of fake news, but do you realize that there are actually businesses out there designed to spread false information? What a world we live in. Here are 5 things you need to know to stay smart online. I studied journalism in college, so you can take my word for what I'm about to say. See, I even have a degree. But don't just take my word for it. Come on, rule number 1. Scrutinize any information that you glean online that you plan on taking seriously. There are certainly people that you can trust, and there are people that gather news professionally. Your friends and family may or may not be included in either one of those categories. And whether or not you trust your best friend, remember that anybody
can be deceived.
So it is up to you to be what we call an active media consumer, aka a smart person. Here are 5 things to keep in mind as you surf the web in order to uncover the lies. It's called the SMELL method. Yes, S-M-E-L-L. The S stands for source. Consider who is giving you the information you are receiving. Maybe you don't see it, but fake news certainly does circulate online. If you come across an article from the National Report, it's fake. No, really. Their website says so. All news articles contained within National Report are fiction and presumably fake news. World News Daily Report, Now 8 News, and the Boston Tribune are just a few examples of fake news sites. They may look legit, but they're not. It isn't illegal, it's just wrong. So go to the source of the information. If it is a journalistic website, then go to the About Us page and make sure that they are actually legit. If they're not, they will probably say so, but you gotta look for it. Legitimate reporters can and do get things wrong sometimes. They try their best not to, because their jobs depend on it. And they even have their own code of conduct, so to speak, that they follow. The M in SMELL stands for motivation. Why is this information being disseminated and touted as true? Know that there is something called native advertising. That is something usually online that looks like reporting or news, but is actually paid for to advertise a product. If you look closely, you can usually spot it. You may see the word advertisement in small words somewhere out of the way. In general, if the information paints a positive picture of a product, it is likely an advertisement and may contain inaccurate information. They print what sells. Moving on to my next point. The E in SMELL stands for evidence. First, was there any evidence given at all? If so, who's giving the evidence? If it is unattributed, then how do we know we can trust the source? Journalists rarely promise anonymity to a source. If they do so, it is to minimize potential harm, like physical harm. So keep in mind, credible sources are named sources. You are more able to trust a doctor on the effectiveness of a new medicine than, say, a celebrity. Unless that celebrity is Keanu Reeves or Amy Poehler. They can do no wrong. This brings us to the first L. L for logic. All this requires is that you actually think about the information that is being fed to you. Does it even make sense? Surprising things can happen, but if you add up all the facts, usually it makes sense. Back to the headline thing. Headlines are often written to be clickbaity, make you want to read more. Sometimes they leave things out and may mislead you. Which brings me to my last point. The final L stands for left out. Ask yourself, were there any credible sources included at all? Was only part of the story told? There's always more than one side to the story, and journalists do their best to capture all sides, but still, you keep an eye on them. Is somebody being accused of something, but they had no opportunity to have part in the article at all? That's a little suspicious. All parties involved should have a chance to declare truth, with a capital T. So all I'm saying is ask yourself a few questions anytime you receive new information, especially if it's online. Especially if it's something that you want to be true. That's called confirmation bias. Look it up. There is so much information available to you due to the internet. And frankly, you can't trust everyone. Keep those tips in mind. They are helpful, and I didn't make them up. Source in the description below along with some other tools that you might find helpful. And of course, remember to smile. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please subscribe and share your thoughts and comments below, especially if you have any suggestions or comments that I may have missed. See you next time.